What's up, YouTube? Back with another video. I want to go over this topic, why your manifestations don't work. So I'm not really big into this. I know that manifestation, all of these things like the law of attraction, all of these things are very big in the spiritual world. And I've listened to it, of course. I understand what they are saying, but I like to think of myself as a very, I like to break things down into very simple terms. And I like to be a very realistic type of person. Although I know that life is very, there's a lot of things inside of life that you can't be realistic because, to be honest, being realistic, uh, what I've started to understand, being very realistic with this world um can be a construct of itself. um but I'm trying to just explain to you guys that I'm really just a down to earth type of person. So uh a lot of the way that I explain things is a very down to earth type of language that I speak. And not to get too in depth, but if you understand what down to earth means, earth is a very physical plane. It's the natural plane. It's the plane that we can't touch. It's the plane that keeps us grounded as human beings. As you go up different other planes, like the spiritual realms and things like that, that's where you can come up out of your realistic ideologies. So I keep my things down to earth so most people can understand what's going on. um but I can speak more into that, so let me stop right there. But let me get into the video. Why your manifestations don't work is really because it's not really your fault. A lot of the reasons why your manifestations don't work is because um one, you do have to get up out of yourself, but at the same time, a lot of times it's not your fault, because when you understand uh how spirituality works, the spiritual realms, and as you understand how certain codes and certain things work inside of this life, you will start to understand that everything is encrypted in a code, right? So this world is actually a very magical place. So the thing is that when you manifest something, you're actually supposed to get it very instantaneously. It's kind of like, say for instance, back in the days, right? It's kind of like, you know, people, they would build things to, have certain things, whether they needed to build, a hut for them to stay in for the winters, whether they needed to build tools or things like that. They would get manifestations or ideas inside of their heads. They would get codes or things like that. And they would basically create what they needed. Not just that, but back in the days, um, a lot of mysterious and miraculous things would happen out of nowhere, right? And this is how they found out to get certain things and build upon certain ideas and build upon certain tools, or to advance civilization, because they would stumble upon certain natural resources. Um, and these natural resources would be benefits to help us with medicine, would help us to build certain things to catch certain wildlifes. So you have to understand that manifestation is really just a natural part of who you are as a human being. It's not something that is supposed to be very hard for us to do. But as time has gone on inside of life, and the power dynamics of life and certain leaders, you have to understand that what people are doing is that, well, let me backtrack. So let me backtrack a little bit. Um, the thing is also, the reason why it's not working is because a lot of people, when they're trying to manifest something, they're manifesting things that are not for them. So you have to understand that most of the things that you see inside of this world is not built by design from your own imagination. What you're doing is you're trying to manifest somebody else's imagination, or you're trying to manifest somebody else's creation, right? So let's say the American dream, the American dream only works for a certain amount of people. And a lot of people have adopted the imagination of the American dream. And the thing is that the American dream is not something that can be manifested by just anybody, right? You also have to understand that there's a code within yourself that you need to follow. There's a certain particular code, and this is how you get tapped into your purpose and where you need to go. This is why I always talk about on my channel about really diving internally. Because once you find your internal state and find your internal self, you will be able to manifest like crazy whatever you want, because you're manifesting from a pot that's already yours, right? Even the Bible talks about, right? It talks about how, you know, do not, I think it talks about along the lines that, like, do not store your your heavenly gifts inside of the earth or something like that, or like your gifts, your gifts or the treasures you should be building within heaven. I think it's something along that lines, but if you understand what I'm trying to say, is that if you could see your spiritual realm, you have a spiritual, what I imagine it to be is you have a spiritual bank account of wealth. And you have to learn how to tap into your spiritual bank account of wealth. And what this society has done is that they're like, don't look at your spiritual wealth of your spiritual bank of wealth. Look over here. Look no further. It's over here. So everybody is putting their minds in their imagination to a place where they can't even, you have to understand that the people who create certain things for people to manifest off of, what I think of it as is that I'm going to draw it like this, right? So let's say that this is just a symbolism, right? Say this is a big bag of money. So this is the world's imagination of what they want you to manifest. But around this big bag of money is a code. So the spiritual essence and the magic and the spiritual magic that's within this area is encoded. There's a code, a structure that they have built around it. So you're not able to tap into this unless you understand the code. So this is the code. And this is the spiritual magic. And a lot of times what this world has done, they have done this even with natural resources, with certain things. They have basically built a code around these certain things that you want. And you have to understand how to basically break the code. But what you have to also realize is that not everybody can break that code. And the thing is that not everybody should break that code because it's not for you. One of the biggest things about learning how to manifest is understanding what is yours and what is not yours. You have to realize that. You got to realize it. You have to understand what is yours and what is not yours.